Hi guys, in today's video we're going to learn how to make these in the hoop mug rug designs. They come together very quickly and very easily, and they're very fun to make, and might I add, they're a bit addicting. Hi, I'm Dawn from Creative Appliques. Thank you so much for joining me here on my channel. I love to make videos showing how to use my designs and give you tips and tricks, ideas on how to make embroidery more fun, less expensive, and more enjoyable. If you're new to my channel, please click on that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. That way you'll be notified when I upload new content, which I do consistently. Also, if you would click that like button, that way it lets me know that you're enjoying my content. And if you're already a subscriber or a member, thank you so much for being here. You're the reason why I'm here. So let's jump into making these mug rugs. So the structure of this mug rug design is not something new that I've just come out with. It's something I've had for years. I have many mug rugs on my website that are this exact design or structure of putting together the mug rug. So this is going to be the basic video showing you how to assemble these mug rugs in the hoop on your embroidery machine. The only thing that'll be different is what is here on this left side of the design. So for all of you who've been requesting this video, thank you very much, and it's finally here. So let's cover the supplies we're going to need for this project. First, you're going to need some stabilizer. I prefer to use a medium to a heavy weight cutaway. This adds extra structure and body to the mug rugs. You're going to need your hoop. For all of these mug rugs, they all use the 5x7 hoop. You can use a larger hoop, but not smaller than 5x7. You're going to need your fabrics. So these measurements are in the included PDF download. So you're going to need some batting. This is standard batting that is used for any kind of quilting project. So, and I have them all labeled for the pieces that, the way they're going to be laid down. So you need batting. You need one side for the side that all of the embroidery is going to be stitched on, a decorative piece for the right side of the mug rug, and then two pieces for the back. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. And then you are going to need something to hold down the fabric. I like to use this magic wand. You're going to need some scissors, applique scissors I like for cutting the batting, little snips, the point and turner to help with getting nice crisp clean corners at the end. I love a rotary cutter and a quilting ruler, and then also some steam-a-seam. In addition, you'll want to print out the PDF that comes included with the download, and it goes through step-by-step photo instructions on exactly how to do this. But today we're going to talk all about that. And then also you can print out the embroidery design specifically that you'll be stitching. And it goes through the color steps for you. And last but not least, you will also need an iron to be able to iron the fabrics both in the hoop when you flip and afterwards when you have turned the whole design right side out. Additionally, you will need your embroidery bobbin, your embroidery thread, and I typically use a 7511 embroidery needle. So I have hooped the stabilizer. The first step that's going to stitch is a placement line. The first step that stitched was the placement line. Now I'm going to take piece A and I'm going to place it on top of covering all the stitching. You can tape this down if you would like to. I prefer to just leave it and let it stitch. So the next thing to stitch is going to be the tack down for the batting. The batting has been tacked down. I like to trim the batting close to the stitching. This way it removes all the bulk from in the seams. This is an optional step. You don't have to trim it, but I prefer to because I don't like that bulk in my seam. The next thing to stitch is going to be a line straight across here. Now that this line has stitched, that's the placement line for the fabric. So we're going to take fabric B and place it with the raw edge, even with this line, right side up. So this piece B is right side up. I'm going to take piece C. Now, you can see this is somewhat directional, even though they're all over the place. So I'm going to use this one as my orientation, that this is going to be right side up. So to explain it, so here we have the mug rug, and it is rotated in the hoop like this. So this is how it will be stitching with the embroidery design here and the decorative fabric here. So if you're using a piece of fabric here that is directional, know that this here is going to be the top. So you will take it and rotate your fabric like that. Then you will turn it so that it is right side down. So piece B right here, this is piece B, is going to be right side up. Piece C, this piece right here, we want to have the top of the fabric on the right side here, and we want to place it right side down. You can tape this if you wish. Next thing to stitch is going to be a line straight across here. Now that they have been tacked down, we are going to flip piece C open like this, and we're going to give it a press. This helps it to be nice and flat. The next thing that's going to stitch is a rectangle around the entire perimeter of both pieces of fabric to hold them down. So giving a nice press right here helps this fabric fold open very nicely and flat. So next to stitch is going to be a tack down for both pieces, B and C. After that, what is going to stitch is going to be the quilting. So if you want the quilting to stand out, really pop, you're going to want to use a contrasting color to this fabric. If you want it to blend in and not be seen, then you will want to use a complementary tone for this fabric. I'm going to be stitching mine in white because my fabric here is white, and I don't want the stitching for the quilting to be seen and to be competing with the embroidery design that's going to be stitched over here. So I stitched the rectangle around this design to hold down the pieces of fabric, and then I stitched the quilting. So the next thing to stitch is going to be the embroidery design. So you'll want to get the JPEG or the PDF file that says stitch order on it, and you can then know what steps you're going to be stitching what part of the decorative design that you'll be stitching on this part. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch all that, and then I'm going to come back and we'll finish up. So I have finished all the decorative stitching for the embroidery design over here by following my stitch order chart. So the next step is to take piece D and piece E. So these are the two pieces that are next for the design. So per the instructions, it tells you to cut these at a specific size and then fold them in half. So you have two pieces like this, each with a fold towards the center. And then you will take piece D and place it down. And then with the fold towards the center here, and you will take piece E with this fold and overlap piece D. So piece E will be on top, the fold of piece E will be on top of piece D. This is specific, and it needs to be done this way or the presser foot is going to get caught. The design is specifically digitized to be able to stitch so that it does not get the presser foot caught. So this is the way the written instructions say to do it. So I wanted to also give you two alternatives in case you don't have enough fabric. Adding the double layers here with this larger piece folded is going to give more structure and body to the finished mug rug design. However, if you don't have as much fabric or you don't like that much fabric, here's an alternative that you could do. So you could take the piece and cut it an inch longer. So the measurements in the PDF gives you the exact size to cut it and then fold it in half. Well, if you take that piece and the solid piece and cut it 1 inch larger, then you can cut the piece in half, okay? and you'll fold over just one end of it. So you'll fold over one end of it, and you'll take that steam seam and iron it to the one end. So this is the flap here is up, okay? So this is the right side. The right side is out. I have folded about a 1/2 inch under, and I've placed my steam seam too, leaving the paper on. So the paper is left on. So then this would be piece D, and this piece with all the raw edges would be piece E. And now let me show you how that would go on here. So you would take piece D, just like you did with the folded one, and put the fold towards the center of the design. And then you will take piece E, all raw edges, no folding, and place that on top of an overlapping piece D. You want to make sure that you are covering all the stitching, extending past the stitching, so you will catch the fabric in all of it. So this one's a little shy. So that's how it would work if you have less fabric, or if you don't want to do larger pieces of fabric folded in half. This is an alternative for you. Now, in addition, one other tip I wanted to give you. So with this sample here, this is a hanging I have, but I love this decorative fabric here with all the swirls and the glitter and everything, but I can't buy it anymore, and I don't have enough to use on the back. So one of the things I started doing with my mini quilt hangings and also my mug rugs is on the back side, I will use a fabric that is either solid or a fabric that I am not that partial to. So if I used it all up, I wouldn't be sad, because these parts are not going to get seen like the front does. And so instead of taking all your favorite decorative fabrics that you love to see and that you want to cherish, you can also use a different color on the back. With this mug rug here, I might have chosen to use this fabric on the back to have the decorative fabric. However, I don't have a lot of it left, and I want to make a whole set of these mug rugs to match with this fabric on the side. So what I've chosen to do on the back is white, because it's not, for me, it's not going to get seen as much, and I'm not going to really care if the white is on the back. So that's another thing that you can do as well, just another tip for using fabric on the back. So now that I have placed the fabric here with piece D, with the fold here, and piece E overlapping, I'm going to go and tack this down. This is the last step to stitch. The design is finished stitching now. It has stitched around the perimeter, so we're going to remove it from the hoop. And again, because I don't like bulk, I am going to remove the stabilizer from the end, from around the edges. This is called the Trimmer by George by Hoop Sisters, and it has a little metal edge on here. And so what I'm doing is I'm pulling up the fabric that I have, and I'm butting up against it, and then I pull the stabilizer while I'm pushing this way with my fingers. And I'll show you at the end how I have my stabilizer cut all the way up to my stitching. So it's going to remove a lot of that bulk of having to turn over the stabilizer. So if you can see now, all my stabilizers trimmed pretty close to the stitching. So now I'm going to go back with my Sew Tights magnetic ruler here, and I love the rulers, how they have, it shows you with the turquoise, this is like a grippy edge. This right side here, this will be reversed if you're right-handed. I'm left-handed, so for me, it's on the right side. But you have a 1/2 inch marking here, and then the other side has a 1/4 inch. So I like to just match up the inside edge of the 1/4 inch along my stitching and use my rotary cutter and get a nice, crisp, clean, straight edge with the stitching all the way around. And I like the magnetic, the Sew Tight rulers because they have magnets in them. And this mat I have here has a piece of metal in it, and so it's magnetic, so it holds the ruler really securely along with the magnets in the mat. And now I'm going to cut across the corners to get some of that additional bulk out. I am going to take my point and turner, and I like to just get my thumb inside the corner really well and push out with my fingers as best I can on all four corners, and then I will get my point and turner and I will push out the edges as well to get as good of a nice corner on these. Okay, and now I'm going to take my pressing mat and my iron. I love this little iron. It's by Oliso, and it's perfect for pressing in the hoop, which you saw me do earlier when I stitched and flipped the fabric. So I love that it is just a nice compact size. It's perfect for travel, but it's also perfect for doing things in the hoop. And you see today we used the 5x7 hoop, so it is a perfect size for that. Okay, so now that I've ironed it down really well, I also like to iron it from the front. And so now I have that steam-a-seam on the back here, and the paper is still on it. Now this is when I want to remove that paper. You also can, if you want, just use fabric glue to close this. You can use a strip of Heat and Bond Light. If you have Heat and Bond Light, you could cut a strip of it as well. And you can hand sew it, but I'm not a hand sewer, so. All right, and so now I like to pull in towards the center with the back, both sides, to get it nice and flush and smooth and flat, and press that down. So there you go, guys. That's how easy it is to assemble these mug rugs all in the hoop on your embroidery machine. It comes together so quickly. The longest part is just simply stitching out the decorative design in the center. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps the channel. Also, leave me a comment below. I read and respond to all the comments, and so I really appreciate your time. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Click that like button, and until I see you next time, guys, make your life creative.